After all that she and the now 15-year-old Eminem had been through together, it was a complete shock to Debbie when he began to shut her out after meeting his first girlfriend, Kim Scott. In her memoir, My Son Marshall, My Son Eminem, Debbie claims that from the moment Eminem had brought Kim to her doorstep, saying that she was his friend and that she needed a place to stay, Debbie treated Kim as if she were her own daughter. Truthfully, the memoir made it seem like Debbie never asked any necessary questions about who this girl was or who her parents were. Ultimately, her lack of questioning, although it sounded like it was to make sure Kim felt comfortable in Debbie's home, would lead Debbie to many problems later on in her life. In the beginning, Kim Scott was described as a quiet girl who shied away from nearly all interactions with Debbie, who in turn was desperate to make Kim feel at ease in her presence. On top of housing and feeding her, Debbie would lend Kim clothes, do her makeup, and offer up her time when Kim needed someone to talk to. In return, Kim would treat Debbie like a maid. Kim would leave her dirty clothes all over the place, and she would steal the clothes Debbie lent to her or just take things from Debbie without bothering to ask first. Meanwhile, if Debbie had asked Kim to help her vacuum or empty the dishwasher, Kim would simply tell her no and then walk away. Although Kim was absolutely awful to Debbie, Debbie claimed that she put up with it because she had been fostering kids for years. In Debbie's eyes, Kim was a child who needed someone, and Kim had told Debbie that her parents had been allowing her to be sexually abused. So Debbie was not willing to let this 15-year-old go through that alone if she could help her. However, Debbie would soon learn that Kim did not want her to be there for her, not when she had Debbie's son. Debbie had her suspicions about Kim and her son's relationship. She was sure that they were dating, despite both of them originally claiming to be friends. However, as Kim spent more time around Debbie, it became obvious that they were a couple due to Kim's absurd jealousy. Kim was jealous of Nathan for being Eminem's brother. She was jealous of Debbie for being close to her son. If anyone had tried to sit next to Eminem, Kim would squeeze herself in between them so that she was the one sitting next to him. Allegedly, she would even try to get rid of Eminem's friends by always accusing them of trying to hit on her. Kim was a beautiful girl, but it just seems illogical that every man Eminem had become close to was trying to make a pass at her. Kim seemingly wanted to become the center of Eminem's life the way he apparently was the center of hers. So much so that she would abandon everything else, including school, to be around him. Debbie had already realized that Kim was skipping school, but because Kim was so close to turning 16, there was virtually nothing Debbie would be able to do about it. But on the morning of Kim's 16th birthday, Debbie received a call from the school. It was not about her son Eminem. No, it was about Kim's repeated absences. When Debbie went to explain that Kim was 16 years old and that she could not force her to attend her classes, the school administrator on the other end was confused. The administrator then told Debbie that Kim did not turn 16. Kim had just turned 13. This obviously had shocked Debbie. Her son was dating a 12-year-old while he was 15. When Eminem had come home that day, Debbie tried to tell him what she had learned over the phone, but he would not hear any of it. Eminem claimed that he knew Kim better than anyone and that there was no way she was 13 when she had been in his class. As a result of Eminem's refusal to listen to Debbie, they ended up in a huge fight that would further damage their already broken relationship. Despite this, Debbie would still try to get along with Kim, but Kim absolutely hated Debbie. To taunt her, Kim told Debbie stories about how when she first came to their home, she would sneak upstairs and sleep with Debbie's son right under Debbie's nose. Those aren't the only stories Kim would go around telling. Apparently, Kim would also get Eminem into numerous fights by telling him that random men would attack her in the streets, in the store, nearly everywhere she went. She was being attacked by some man thrice Eminem's size, and he would have to go out to find and fight these men, sometimes more than one at a time. Allegedly, when she got him jumped by 4 large men, she told him he needed to take it like a man. Debbie claimed that she repeatedly begged her son to break up with Kim, but there was no getting through to him. Eminem chose Kim over everyone else in his life. It came to the point that if Kim was around him, no one else even bothered to talk to Eminem because they knew it would be an issue. Debbie was not even able to talk to her son through the poems they had once written to each other to communicate emotions that they could not speak because Kim did not approve of it. Meanwhile, Eminem was getting into more and more trouble as he immersed himself in rap culture, black culture, which meant he was going to be harassed by the police. Debbie had given him her Lincoln so that he could get around, but according to her, Eminem could not go too far without being stopped by the police. Way too often were Eminem and his friends stopped and beaten by police officers. His friends got beaten for being black men, and Eminem got beaten for being white and hanging around nothing but black men. However, because she had no access to her son at this time, all she could do was watch him as all this occurred. As the days went on, Debbie and Eminem grew farther apart, and Kim became bolder with her hatred of Debbie because she knew Eminem would intervene if Debbie said anything to her. One night, while Eminem and Kim had gone with a few friends to an amusement park, Eminem and his friends ended up stranded in another state during the wee hours of the morning. Debbie was on the road to get them within seconds, and since she gave Eminem her Lincoln, she had to take one of her company limos. Once she made it to Ohio, she picked them all up. While Eminem and the rest of their friends were asleep, Kim looked Debbie right in her eyes through the rearview mirror, grabbed a can of Pepsi, then she poured it all over the floor of the company car. When Debbie asked Kim to stop, Kim claimed that she had not done anything, and of course, Eminem believed Kim even when Debbie stopped the car at a gas station to clean up the spilled drink with paper towels. Once they arrived home, Kim continued her antics, but this time she went too far. As Debbie was distracted, Kim allegedly ran up on her from behind and bashed her over the head with a footstool, almost breaking Debbie's neck. Finally, Debbie had enough. The drama with Kim had been never-ending. Prior to the Pepsi incident, Kim had allegedly attempted to get Debbie arrested by stealing a dresser, planting it in Debbie's home, then calling the cops to report that there was a dresser that did not belong to Debbie in their home. Subsequently, Debbie had to ban Kim from her home for her own sake. Unfortunately for Debbie, this would only mean that Kim would turn her terror from her to Eminem. Kim knew exactly what to say to Eminem to hurt him. There were many days when he would come home to Debbie and throw away all of his notebooks filled with his lyrics and ideas because Kim told him that he would never make it. Eventually, all of their fighting would lead to them breaking up. Although short-lived during this breakup, Debbie seen the child that she had raised come back out. He was back to putting his focus on bettering himself rather than doting on Kim every minute of the day. Eminem even started dating a girl that he met at his job. However, his peace would soon be disturbed by Kim the moment she found out he had a new girlfriend. She would endlessly call him, his mom, and his workplace. Debbie warned him not to get back together with Kim, and he said he would not, but soon enough, Kim had called to let them know she had been pregnant. At first, Debbie was not sure how the baby could be Eminem's. He was with his new girlfriend, and he claimed that he was not interested in taking Kim back. However, he would admit that he had dumped his new girlfriend and had been seeing Kim behind his mom's back for quite some time. When the baby was born, Kim went right back to her usual ways. She had a friend call Eminem when the baby was born, but she refused to allow him to sign the birth certificate. Then, she would constantly use the baby as leverage when she couldn't get what she wanted. Allegedly, she would often threaten to call the police on Eminem if he had so much as annoyed her. Debbie again had to put up with Kim's drama for the sake of her son and his child, a girl that was named Haley. Debbie adored Haley and would do anything to make sure that Eminem was able to be there for her the way he wanted to, which Kim would fight him on at every turn. After all their fighting over Eminem getting to see Haley, yet again, Eminem and Kim had broken up. To cope with all that he went through with Kim, his bullies, and other things that pegged his life, he came up with the anti-hero persona, Slim Shady. Slim quickly became popular in the Detroit rap scene due to his outlandish lines and aggressive personality. Unfortunately for Debbie, this version of Eminem hated her and used his lyrics to express this hatred with wild accusations and taunting words. Although she was often the butt of his jokes, Debbie still supported Eminem's rap career. She would attend shows and help out with equipment and even take photos for him. Even now, she listens to his albums and congratulates him on his every achievement, despite knowing that the love she has for him is not fully reciprocated.